Welcome back to Wild and Wonderful Enrichment, Science Edition. We learned about the states of matter, solids, liquids, gases. While I read a book to them, they drew the solid, liquids, and gases, and then we shared what we had drew. I loved what they came up with, especially under the gases. One of my favorites was farts and toxic gas. Then we moved on to a Kahoot quiz where we took information that we had learned while I was reading to them and they applied it in the Kahoot quiz. Then in the afternoon we went into our experiment, which was distinguishing saltwater from freshwater. I honestly didn't know if the kids were going to enjoy this experiment. I had tried it the night before and I had some fails and I was prepared to work through that with them. So through a series of tests we were going to distinguish which was saltwater and which was freshwater. The first test we did was the float test, which we had several items that we would test in both samples. And when I originally had tried it, the dye was supposed to float according to my book. However, the dye that I chose did not float. But we were lucky and one of the dye that I didn't try did float, so that was huge excitement and we discussed how and why that might have happened. We also found that even though we didn't taste whether or not it was saltwater or freshwater, some of us had cuts on our fingers and we quickly figured out which one was saltwater if we had a cut on our hand, so we had to take some trips to the bathroom to rinse off our hands so they weren't burning. We also did a density test, which didn't work when I did it. My colors just mixed together. However, the kids found that if you put the red, which was saltwater, into our test tubes first and then put the freshwater on top, you could definitely see the difference between the density of the saltwater and freshwater. And this was a huge hit. I heard one of the kids say, "I really feel like a scientist with this." So that was exciting and it led to a lot of great discussion about how we put our samples into the test tube, what ways work better, how much we use. So it really promoted a lot of great discussion. The kids decided to take their density tests to the next level and we went from using the little dropettes to pouring the cups on top of each other to see what that would look like. So we might have made a little bit of a mess, but it was a fun mess. And our final test was the freeze test. Early in the morning, I put the samples in ice cube trays, and we found that freshwater freezes well before saltwater does. In between our lessons, we spent a lot of time outside, and the kids found some snow that was left over from the week before, and they had a good old time playing with that. It also taught us some valuable lessons of when our games get a little out of hand and someone gets hurt, how we apologize and speak to others and take their feelings into account. So not all of our learning was planned. Some of it just came about, and it was some of the most important lessons that the kids could have learned. It was a great day, and I really appreciate the families that entrust me with their children, and I just love getting to do these classes with them, and I hope they love it as much as I do.